All right, class, in this video, I'm going to show you how to design your nose cone right here so that we are able to print this thing out on the 3D printer. The first thing I need to do is collect a little bit of notes here. So I'm going to come open my nose cone. I'm going, I'm going to get on the general tab here, I need the length. My length is 3 inches. I need to know my base diameter, which is 1.325 inches, and realize that your numbers are going to be a little bit different than mine. I'm going to come over here to my shoulder, and I need my shoulder diameter, which is 1.283 inches for me, and my length is 1 inch. Again, don't go off of my numbers, go off of what is in your document so that it's accurate for you. I'm going to say OK, and that's what I need from this information. All right, next I'm going to open up this document here. This is what you exported out. You can see the shape in which I plan to make this thing. The really neat thing is after we've printed this, we have the nose cone sitting right here, and we will be able to match it up to make sure we got what we wanted. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and start designing this thing. All right, I have a new document here. I'm inside of my Aerospace 1 folder right there, Mr. Craig. You'll be in your own folder. And first thing I'm going to do is create a new component. My new component, I'm going to call this thing nose cone. Nose cone. There we go. Say OK. There we go. Now I'm going to start a new sketch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look over here, and I can see that this XY, it's easiest to do it on here. You don't have to put it on this XY plane. It just makes it easier for me to set it up on the printer. But that one there is my XY, green line and red lines. And there we go. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to design a quarter of this rocket. And we're going to do it as a two-dimensional sketch. So the first thing I need to do is a line right off the center origin point. I'm going to minimize this to make so we can see a little bit better. There we go. Right off the center origin. And I'm going to come up the shoulder length, which was 1 inch. There we go. Next, I'm going to come out from my shoulder. So I'm going to create a new line. It's going to come out this way. And what my shoulder diameter was 1.283. Again, your numbers may change. But that would be the diameter, and I need the radius. So I'm going to divide that by 2. Let Fusion figure this out. Just get this number out of my way. Cool. With that said, I can come up here, draw another line, come straight up. Again, it's going to be 1 inch. It's just the other side of the shoulder. I'm happy. All right. Now I need to get my nose cone out. From this point here, I need to come out. This thing is going to be my nose diameter, which is 1.325 minus my shoulder diameter, which was 1.283. I need all of that. So I'm going to go actually put this in parentheses. Divided by 2. What that's created is this little step out for me, which is what I needed. All right, and that's going to end up being my anchor point for my nose base. I'm going to come over here, come back to my center point, or not my center point, but the point from the length of my shoulder. I'm going to come straight up my nose length, which was 3 inches. I have this line. And I'm happy with that. All right, now I just have to do is create the nose itself. I'm going to come up here to my spline tool, because if I go back and look at what this thing looks like, it's going to be rounded. Spline tool is very good for that. So come here to my spline tool. I'm going to put a point here. I'm just going to put a couple reference points in. Trying to stay within. And then my last point has to come way wherever. There it is. Way out here to this outside point. Once you have that, click on this green check. It'll keep what you just drew. And that's what it looks like. Now this is going to come to a little bit more of a point than I wanted to, so I can take, I'm going to hit escape real quick. Now I have my pointer. I can take these handles and move them around a little bit until I get what I want. It's just going to be something nice and smooth. It's really what I'm going for. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Finish sketch. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to name my sketch. This is my nose cone. And now I'm going to revolve this thing. There's my point right there. My axis is this line. And you can see it just created it for me. I'm happy with that. All right, next we're going to put a little point or a circle on the end of this thing. So I'm going to create a new sketch. It needs to be on the same facing as your nose cone. So I revolved around this axis, so that's where I need to put this thing. You can see my sketch goes right through the middle of this thing. Happy with that. I'm going to create a circle right here off the base. Just make it a little bit shorter than your shoulder. It'll leave it room to fit. Happy with that. Now I'm going to create another one, or I'm going to create an offset. So I create this offset tool. I'm going to select this. I'm going to move it in, and I'm going to make this 1/8 of an inch, which is negative 0.125. Gives me 1/8 of an inch. Finish that sketch. I'm going to name this thing my hook or loop. I like loop better. There we go. Extrude this thing. So I'm going to select that geometry right there. I am going to over here change my direction to symmetric. And I'm going to do 1/2 of an 1/8 inch because I'm going 2 directions at one time. So you can do the math and go, okay, that's actually 0.0625, or you can go 0.125, which is what we used before, divided by 2. Oops. Forgot to do a very important step. Try it again. There. 0.125 divided by 2. And then send this to join. There's where my loop's going to be. I'm happy with that. I'm going to say OK. And there it is. If you want to make this thing look a little bit nicer, you can come through and use this fillet tool. And we can round this off if we want. This is really up to you if you want to do this part. One. I'm not going to do it. This is fine. So there it is. I am going to make the little edge right there. I'll make that edge, this edge. I'm just going to make these just a little bit stronger. And the fillet tool is going to do that for me as well. This is optional, but a suggestion. 125. That looks good. It's going to give it some nice strength. I'm happy with that. There it is. Very good. So that is your nose cone. You want to save this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and save this thing real quick. Mine is just going to be nose cone demo. And then to create your STL file that we can print, you're going to come up here to File, 3D Print. Leave this in millimeters. We need an STL file. This is what we're printing. And turn off this Send to 3D Print utility. And then you can now say OK. And then this is my nose cone STL file. It'll allow me to save it to my computer. Just figure out where it is that you're saving this thing to. Say OK. And you can submit that for grade or for printing and for grading. But that is how you create your nose cone in Fusion. Any questions? Let me know.